All right, class, today we're going to do Unit 8, Section 3, and we're going to talk about graphing quadratic functions. But let's do a review at first, what we did on 8-2. All right? So, the x-axis of symmetry is the line x equals negative b over 2a. Remember, negative b is just the opposite of b. Find the x-coordinate of the vertex. Remember, the vertex is your x and y coordinates. You use negative b over 2a. All right, to find the y-coordinate, you substitute the x-coordinate into the equation once you find the x-coordinate. If a is negative, the parabola is opened downward. So before you even graph it, you can kind of have an idea if it's upward or downward. If A is positive, then it opens upward. Okay? So, let's find our vertex. So this here is review, nothing new. So to find our vertex, we need to identify what A is, and we need to identify what B is. A is your coefficient in front of x squared. B is your coefficient in front of x. So we need to find our x-coordinate, which is negative, or the opposite of b, over 2a. All right? Well, b is 18, so the opposite of b is negative 18 over 2 times a, which is 3. So that's negative 18 over 6, which is negative 3. So my x-coordinate is negative 3. Remember, this is the axis of symmetry. All right, now to find the y-coordinate, with our equation here, we substitute negative 3 in for x. Okay, so negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times 3 is 27. Negative 3 times 18 is a negative 54, and then bring down your plus 9. So when you simplify this, we get that y equals negative 18. So our vertex is negative 3, negative 18. Okay? Let's try another one. Our A equals the coefficient in front of x squared, which is 1. Our B is the coefficient in front of x, which is negative 10. So to find our x-coordinate, we take the opposite of b and put it over 2a. Well, if b is negative 10, the opposite of negative 10 is 10. And the denominator is 2 times 1. So our x-coordinate is 5. And remember, this is the axis of symmetry, your x-coordinate. All right, to find your y, we substitute 5 into our original equation for x. So 5 squared minus 10 times 5 plus 2. 5 squared, 10 times 5 plus 2. So we get a negative 23. So our vertex is 5, negative 23. All right? Okay. I'm going to be quiet. Let's see if you do these last two. Finding the vertex, and if you get stuck, you can look up here. Okay, we got one more. Alrighty, now let's go on to the graphing part. Okay, so when we graph a quadratic equation, the first thing we need to find is the vertex. Alright, so we need to go ahead though and isolate our variable y. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides here. Okay, once I do that, I can find my x-coordinate of my vertex. And then I can find my y-coordinate by substituting -1 in for x. Okay, so here's my vertex. Now, the reason why you want to find your vertex first, class, is because now we've got to find some more points here. So x, y. Your vertex, let's look at this. Before we even graph this, A is positive, so it's going to be upward. So the -1 is going to be your, if it's upward, it's going to be your minimum point, okay? So what we need to do is we need to find points to the left and right of that. So let's put -1, 0 in the middle, okay? So to go to the left of x on your x-coordinate, left of -1 is -2 and -3. Right of -1 is 0 and 1. So this will take you left, and this will take you right. This is an example where you can't use the -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, or actually you could, but sometimes you can't use that to see how the parabola is going to look. You might just get one side of that curve, okay? So let's do this. Let's substitute -3 in for x. So we have -3 squared plus 2 times -3 plus 1. So I have a +9 plus a -6 plus 1, and I get 4. So now I have 2 points. Now let's substitute -2 in for x. So I have +4 plus a -4 plus 1, so y is 1. And then let's substitute 0 in for x. All right. So we're going to get a +1, and then let's substitute 1 in for x. And we should get a 4. 1 plus 2 plus 1. Yes. All right, so now let's graph this. Okay, so before I even graph it, my A is positive, so now it's going to be upward. And my vertex is -1, 0. So that's going to be my minimum point because it's going to go upward, okay? So let's see, my first point was -3, 4, -3, +4, and then I had -2, 1. There's my vertex. Then I had 0, 1, so 0, 1. And then I had 1, 4. 1, 4. And there's my parabola. Your axis of symmetry is your x-coordinate, -1. So if I were to draw my axis of symmetry, it would be right there. Okay? All right. I believe I'm going to stop to make sure I have enough time and do a part 2. So I'll see you in just a minute.